Thanks for checking out New Dice. I appreciate it. Today, a little bit different kind of episode. More of just a random thoughts, things I've been thinking about. It's not going to be like a full-fledged episode like a couple of the last ones have been, or video like the last ones have been. I want to talk about a system that I want to play and how I'm going to get into that. It's going to lead to a little bit of review talk as well. I want to talk about VTTs briefly and something I'm working with there. I want to talk about GMing and where my brain is with that. And I also want to bring up, I think what the title for this video is going to be, a GM trap that I think new GMs run into, maybe new players have a hard time navigating, and I want to talk about it on this. I understand that there's going to be experienced people coming in going, are you serious, dude? Dumb topic, but I'm new GM, I'm new player, and I want to get some insight from a different perspective maybe than you experienced folks have. If at any point you want to find the stuff that's being talked about, go to the timestamps and you can get right to the stuff that you want to hear about. Because I know a lot of times people will have said, look, your thumbnail said this, and 8 minutes in you weren't talking about that yet. Totally get it. Go to the timestamps and let's just get to the stuff you want to get to. Okay? I'm also going to talk about a dream of mine that this weekend sparked in my brain. And I'm just going to throw it out there. We're going to discuss it. But I wanted to start with this. This is a game I really want to run right here. This right here is the Land of Eem. It won some Ennies this year. It's got a little buzz around it. It's had some buzz around it. It's a really cool system. And it's something that I have been very interested in getting into and trying and playing. I know that the creators sell it as the Muppets meet the Lord of the Rings. I'm not a big Muppets guy, but I am a Saturday mornings cartoon guy. From reading through it, I'm going with it's the Gummy Bears, the like 1980s Disney cartoon, the Gummy Bears meets Lord of the Rings. It seems really cool, and it's like more lighthearted, fun, adventuring system, and I'm interested in it. And also, you know, I got those pack that comes with this amazing settings book, the Mucklin's Sandbox Campaign Setting, and it seems really cool. I mean, it is a thick setting for the Land of Eem with a ton of stuff in it. You know, it's got this game comes with a huge hex crawl map, and the map is just fleshed out in that settings book. But one thing I've noticed, and I've noticed this a lot on YouTube, and something I don't want to bring to the table here, is a way to review things that I want to do differently than maybe some other people do, because I have been very interested in the Land of Eem. And so I've gone to some channels seeking out their review of either the settings book or the core rule book. And there have been a lot of people who have reviewed it, but a lot of the reviews I watch for a lot of the systems are people who thumb through a PDF or the book itself, and they look at, here's the rules, and then they kind of read sections, and they just flip through the book, and at no point does it feel like they've played the game. Because, it's a campaign setting book. I don't know that when I click on a review, I just want someone to go through and read the Cooperson family. Mom and Pop Cooperson live in a barrel house with 15 of their 16 children, right? I don't need to necessarily know everything that's in it. I want to know from someone who's played in the system, use the setting, how does it work? How does it play at the table? And so if we're going to do reviews on this channel, I do want them to, I want you to understand a review comes from, I've looked at the book, I've probably read most of the book, and I've also put it to action and played it so that you've got that part of the review in there as well. Anyways, something I'm really excited about. And what I've done now, because I need to find people to play with, this is what I did with Daggerheart. I'm just going to the Discord for the Land of Eem, and I'm like, hey, does anyone want to play? Let me look right now. I threw one up a little bit ago, just like a last-second Hail Mary. Hey, 9 o'clock tonight, does anyone want to play with a new GM? It's probably not going to happen tonight, but I'm going to try to schedule something this week, like maybe Wednesday night or something, and try to run a game. Here's something that I wanted to mention to people who are thinking about GMing, even playing to an extent. This week, I went out with my kids, and I had not busted this out in a couple months. This right here is one of my favorite things I own. It's one of my skateboards. I love skateboarding. Now, I've not done it as much. I've got very little kids right now, and so a lot of my time is spent not skateboarding and kind of managing kids on scooters and bikes and strollers and wagons. But the other day I went out and I got a skateboard next to my kids while they were on their scooters, and I just love it so very much. I love it. But it took me back to as I was skateboarding. I was like, man, this brings me so much joy, and I hadn't done it for a while, so I was kind of nervous. Like, am I gonna be wobbly on it? And I kind of was, but I picked it up pretty quick. I think you know the saying, it's like riding a bike. Skateboarding a little bit tougher than a bike, but it comes back to you, right? Because I've done it so much. But I went back and I remembered as my little 3-year-old son was like, Dad, can I do that? I said, absolutely not. We don't have your helmet, and if I take you home with a broken arm or a concussion, your mom is going to kill all of us. I remembered being young and being like, this is a crazy undertaking, like a skateboard. How do you do this? This is hard. What do you do? And it was very difficult to learn how to do, and it wasn't just easy, and it didn't come overnight. The dividends have been huge, and I've loved what I've gotten out of skateboarding, but it was a hard thing to learn how to do. And then as you learn tricks in skateboarding, oh my gosh, hours and hours and hours of trying to learn how to do this. Days I didn't want to go out skateboarding, I went out skateboarding, and I tried to learn how to at least improve my skills a little bit. And that relates to what I want to do here with, like Land of Eem. I've never really GM'd. I've always wanted to, but my brain has been like, you can't do it. You've never done it. You're not going to know what to do. You're going to suck at it. And I remember that took me back with skateboarding to those feelings and thinking, no, I gotta persevere. I've done this before. I've learned how to do things that are hard before, and it's paid off dividends pretty much every time. So that's my mindset right now with GMing, and I would hope to push it to those of you who are thinking about doing it, and you've been on YouTube, and you've watched a lot of stuff, you've read a lot of books, you've watched some actual plays, you've played in some games, and you're like, but I can't GM. You and me, this is us. We got to get our reps in. We got to get our reps in. Now, one thing that's harder than skateboarding, it's hard to know where to get your reps in. That's something I'm realizing. It's hard to, convince friends. I got a lot of buddies that don't like TTRPGs or the world of that at all. So I've got to go elsewhere to find people to try to play games with, which is why I've been going to Discord servers and stuff and maybe local game shops. But we've got to just do it. And I think for the most part, there's a lot of people who are out there who are excited about the prospect of people getting into the hobby, that they'll sit through, like I had the other night when I tried to GM a Daggerheart game for 3 random people off the Discord, the Daggerheart Discord. They've never said a word about it since because it wasn't good. But they were there for 3 hours. I think we had a little bit of fun anyways, and I got some reps in. And I'm going to do it again with Land of Eem. I'm going to do it again. I want to do it with D&D. I want to do it with Daggerheart still, with a lot of stuff. The only way that we are going to get better is you or me, you or I are going to get better is by doing it. So this is my motivation. This skateboard right here was my motivation this week. This took me a long time to learn how to do. And I had to get on it a lot. And I had to fall off it a lot. And I had to have some bad sessions. And then I had some really good ones. And then I had some bad ones again. And I guess my motivation would be get on your skateboard, get out there, and let's do it. Let's do it. And let's find a hub somewhere where we can talk about our successes and our failures. And that's kind of what part of what this channel is like, get in the comments if you've done one and you failed, and let's talk about it. We can get in there and chat a little bit in the comments and see what that's all about. But the skateboard made me want to get out there and do it. I want to run Land of Eem this week. Time to GM. Okay. There's some introspect there. One of the things I've got to do is I've got to figure out my virtual tabletop world, because I've played on Roll20 before, but I haven't really messed around with it a lot. I think that's where I fall in terms of what I can do and what I can handle. But I am intrigued. I'm interested. I have a lot of intrigue in Foundry. I just don't have a lot of intrigue in the price point to entry for it. But it does seem cool. I've got to dial in on a VTT, and I've got to like learn the ins and outs of it so that, when you're live at the table, I think you've got pieces, physical things, and you know what you have available to throw it on the table for your players. I struggle on the computer a little bit to be like, okay, these are not my hands moving things. I'm with the mouse. I'm grabbing things out of folders. I'm trying to get them onto how do I load them in real quick? It's tricky for me to maneuver that world. So I've got to get comfortable with the VTT. And I think it's something that's important if you're going to GM online. As much as there's like a lot of people who are like, don't worry about prep or, minimal prep. I think one thing you need to prep on is the VTT and knowing how to get pieces on and off of it. If you're going to do Fog of War, how to do it. I think you need to get pretty decently proficient with a VTT to bring you more comfort if you're learning how to GM. All right, let's talk about the thing that I wanted to talk about the most. See, 10 minutes in, hopefully you use timestamps. There is a GM tip that I've seen online a lot that I've paid attention to a little bit, but in my last 2 sessions with buddies, it has come up, and now I can say, as someone, again, new player, getting new into GMing, something I'm really holding on to because it is really, really important. And it might be modular. The last 2 sessions I've played with buddies, I've got a group on Tuesday nights. I'm not counting because the guy who GMs our Tuesday night group is a total professional. But I've played with 2 buddies who are new to GMing. They're both running modules. And we have ran into situations where the PCs are in a scenario. Maybe they're in a tavern. Maybe they're in an escape camp. But there is a specific area you're in where there are a lot of NPCs. And obviously in the module, they have got NPCs fleshed out. And if you talk to NPC Darren, he's going to give you the information about this and that. If you talk to Erica, she's going to have this information. So as a GM, you've read this module, you're leaning heavily on these NPCs because they are going to progress the story. Well, as players, we didn't want to talk to these people. We didn't want to do it. And it's been tough because in both of the situations this has happened in, it's been newer players, me, new GMs, and we have hit this weird wall in both sessions where the GM was like, why aren't you talking to the NPCs that I just laid out for you? I explained when you came into this building or this campsite or this city, I said a bunch of very specific names to you. Why aren't you talking to them? And us as players, we're like, because our brains are going down a different path right now. Like we are so far removed from, I guess, where the module says we may go, that like to change out of that, it's like slamming on the brakes, and it ruins all the momentum of the game. And I've heard GMs say this on YouTube, and I've seen videos, but I never ran into it. And so one thing I've really taken away for me, especially with modules, if you're running one, you may fall in love with NPCs as you read through the module. You really have to be prepared for your players not to talk to them. And this is a big thing that you hear a lot, right? Your players will always avoid what you plan. So if you plan too much, your players are not going to touch half of what you planned. This is one of those things. You need to make sure you can be on your feet, changing things around, because just because Darren sounded really cool how you explained him in this tavern, I may not want to talk to him. I got my own agenda. I wanted to talk to this weird dude who you didn't have planned, but you accidentally said his name, but for some reason it sounded fun to me, and now I'm way involved with this guy. Bring stuff over to him. Bring the Darren stuff over to this guy. So this is one of those things, I guess a GM tip that you may have heard other people say, but I've ran into it twice now. In 2 sessions my buddies have ran. If you have a bunch of NPCs, they are planning on sharing stuff to continue the story, know that there is a high likelihood nobody's going to want to talk to them, and you need to be okay with it. Unfortunately, in both situations, my buddies, who are the GMs, have not been able to say, okay, let's just keep moving. They've stopped the game and said, why, both of them, why aren't you talking to the NPCs? And it was such a jarring moment. Now, we understood it because we are buddies. So that part is kind of like, we get what's happening. This is kind of a mutual respect between new players, new GM. We are all working together to become better at it. So it's easier for us to kind of step back and go, okay, hang on. Let's take a break. Let's take a quick beat. You're wanting us to talk to him. We aren't. Let's talk about why this is. Let's get better at being players. Let's get better at being GM. So we've been fortunate that that's the table this has happened at, but that's not always going to happen if you're GMing for random people online or at a con or something like that. They're not going to be able to just stop the game and have a friendly discussion of like, okay, why are you forcing this? And like the conversation we had of like, hey, dude, just so you know, as we're getting better at this, that really stopped the game a lot. Not to be offensive or anything, but just to get better. All right, so that's my little tip to you. If you've got a bunch of NPCs, know that they're probably not going to get talked to, and don't force them down the throats of your players. All right, let me talk about a dream I've had, and it happened this weekend. I don't know where this goes. This is just something I'm thinking about. I'm a big football fan. College football kicked off in all earnesty this weekend with all the teams pretty much playing. Next week, the NFL, the National Football League, kicks off. Football is here. Football is back. And there's a ton of excitement from us football fans, taking days off, shutting it down, sitting on the couch for hours, watching tons of games, drinking our beers, eating our pizzas. Oh. Right, football's back. And it's been fun, and I love it because, like, my buddies and I are texting like crazy, getting together. We had some get-togethers this weekend for college football. We're going to have a bunch next weekend for the NFL. And it's so fun every year. And I was like, why can't we do it with something like this? Where is that? Am I missing it? I wish there was a way that D&D, some big tabletop thing, had like an opening weekend. Right? How cool would that be? That is told to by everyone, word of mouth, of like, look, wherever you are, there's going to be a game. There's going to be a game shop. There's going to be some game stores involved in this. But this is like the 2025 D&D campaign starts now. Take your campaign to, type in your city. There's a place that's going to be rented out for with tables. Take your campaign there. We're all getting together. We're all nerding out at our tables. We're all getting together doing what we love. And we're having like an opening weekend. And it doesn't have to be an opening weekend. I just say that because college football and NFL are doing that right now. But it would be more of a like, this is just a weekend to celebrate the hobby where everyone can get into it together and just see how many people in your area love it. Because I think that would be kind of a cool experience. It's a hobby that a lot of people like. And I'd love for us all to get together and just kind of enjoy it together. I know there's big things like Gen Con just happened and a lot of people got to do that there. But not everyone can just go to Indianapolis. Not everyone can pay for tickets to go there. Not everyone can go to PAX, pay to get to Seattle, pay for hotels and all that. But you're in your city. I just wish there was one where it was like, look, game stores, who wants to be involved in this? Enter your game store on this website, and we're going to pack the place on, Saturday, the first Saturday in October. Go to your local game store. Here are the ones in San Jose that are doing it. Here are the ones in San Antonio. I only know Sand cities. And you go, take your current game. Maybe you don't have a current game, but you want to meet some people to play. Go, get at a table. Man, I wish we had it for this. I wish the excitement I felt for college football, NFL, we had it in that TTRPG space. Okay, there's just a weird random dream that doesn't mean anything or get us anywhere. Thanks for watching New Dice. Like, comment, subscribe, tell someone about the channel. I appreciate you.